Hey, everybody, this is David Skrika, addictedtoprofits.net. And which this is going to change soon, by the way, as I've stated. I'm probably going to launch the Patreon and pay part. Again, most of it is just kind of donations if you like these videos. These weekend videos, which you'll get two more of for free of charge. That will be part of the Patreon. It's going to be $7 to $8 a month. So like I say, it's either roughly 30 days in a month. It's basically 23 to 27 cents a day. Don't get one or two Starbucks coffees a month. And I think you'll find this a lot more. You're going to get a lot more out of this, than that. So the weekend versions, and like I said, I didn't do one yesterday. It's either going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, Monday, depending on my schedule, depending how I feel, et cetera, et cetera. And sometimes it's good to not do something for a day because I didn't really have ideas Friday morning to do 3 charts. And then, I just read over a bunch of articles, look at the markets. We had a great, we've had a great couple of weeks I have paying members out there. These weed stocks we've been in have done fantastically. One of the turnaround plays, I got stopped out at a couple of them, but the one turnaround play has done very well as well. And it did, it bounced this week. So yeah, we're doing pretty good. It looks like we're going to show you. I'm not going to show you obviously the trades are for paying subscribers or the whatnot. Actually, I think I will show you because I'm not really launched it yet. So I will show you one stock. So that we're short right now. They report earnings this week. I have some put options on it. We're going to see what happens. So anyhow, the first piece of news is we're going to look at GM. So our 3 stock charts, 3 for 1 on the weekend are going to be the automotive companies, the weed companies, because they have had a few big weeks. And those are the 2 I'm going to start with. And then the third one is going to be the home builders. And that's where the short comes from, because I think the home builders with interest rates are rolling over. So let's start with the auto companies. So yeah, we're seeing that it's unprecedented that now UAW has got strikes at all 3 of the major auto companies. We all know that car prices are extremely high due to lack of supply since COVID, et cetera, et cetera. There was a chip shortage for a while. Maybe that other word I said is kind of what I thought of COVID mandates. But anyhow, so that sort of thing. So we can see that these stocks, they've not really done that well. I think they've anticipated a lot of this news. You can see the big downtick here in GM in August. It's come off from 41 to 33. Let's get a longer term chart. We'll look at Ford as well. And of course, Chrysler, the third one, is a private company. So, or it's part of Fiat, I guess. Yeah, you can see this big downturn. Really, they peaked in late 2021 with the market, and it's down here. It's a pretty cheap stock, but the problem with automakers is the margins are so low and their debt is so high that they get killed in recessions. Like GM went bankrupt, so we can't really see it, but we'll get Ford and we'll show it to you. Ford, you can see the same kind of thing. Remember, if remember in 2022, we did very well shorting Ford. I kind of got out of those shorts around 12 to 13, which is where it is now, because I didn't really see the opportunity to continue to be shorted. But yeah, we shorted it, I think, around 2021. And the stock fell, like I said, into the teens, and I almost fell into the single digits, right? But if we go look at a long-term chart of Ford, what we'll see is, look at Ford's a buy at the bottom of recessions. I'm not a doom and gloomer, despite what people think of me. And I've made mistakes being too negative in the past, but we're going to get Ford and we're going to go all the way back to the 1990 recession. And we can see that Ford went to about $3 then, and then, went to 18 during the dot-com bubble. And then, fell to about 4, and then didn't really have that strong of a move in the 2000s, but then fell to 1, and of course almost went bankrupt, and then went to $10. And again, during COVID, fell to 4, and then rallied all the way to 22. So one thing I would say about Ford is this under $4 area. That's the area you want to accumulate. Now, it did have this thing that what you would have been down a little more, but you could have averaged in. But you can see that most of the times in these recessions, the early 90s, early 2000s, 2020, Ford is a great way to play recessions, and usually it moves early on in the rebound. Like you can see even to 03, all the move was in the first year. So I would almost say with Ford too, even though after this recession, it did have that second move, at the end of the bubble. But I would say like you want to sell Ford within a year or two and then move on to other stuff because there's better opportunities as, say, the economic cycle matures and as people it gets more frothy and that sort of thing. So anyhow, but we can see these stocks have all come off. And like, the Ford was actually up 2.5% today. So it's almost like they've maybe discounted some of this news. And, if you're going to look at some other plays, like it's probably good. Like look at all these other, like Toyota or Honda. It's probably good for those companies. Let's look at Honda quickly. Yeah, you can see the Honda here. It went from 26 to 35 kind of thing. And you see Honda's done really well. And notice the difference in Honda compared to those US automakers. So probably Honda has been rallying on this, hope that, they're going to keep producing cars. And, the US makers are going to be stalled here due to the strike. So that's our first stock chart of the day. We showed you a historical chart of Ford. We showed you GM. We showed you that this is kind of unprecedented, that the auto workers are striking at all three plants, right? So now let's move on to the cannabis stock. So this is the cannabis stock index, and you can see it continues to break out. There was some real interesting on my Twitter here. By the way, I'm David. I'm just if we get, I'll show you my account. It's just David Skarica. So if you just follow me, David Skarica on Twitter, we're gonna, I'm gonna do more shortly with Twitter and stock chart of the day and whatnot. I should actually post the charts here or the links here shortly too. But Twitter, I don't find it gets much traction. So, and if you want to follow my account is locked. I had an issue with some guy was trolling me online, so I just said I'm going to lock it. So it happens. So anyhow, we can see here the White House is promoting President Joe Biden's mass marijuana pardon and scheduling review directive as part of our Fight of Freedom campaign to meet mobilize young people and as next year's election approaches per marijuana moment. So basically, this is what I've been saying, that Biden is doing very poorly in the polls, and he's going to use this to get reelected. Like, I've said that all along. Like, I met some people from Nova Scotia. I think I told this story before. They were staying in Harbor Island here, which is an island near where I live. And they were kind of more liberal than me. I think you all know I'm pretty conservative and libertarian in my politics. And, but that was their big issue, because I was just telling them how I couldn't stand Trudeau. And they were just like, they didn't really care for Trudeau either, but they were just like, he's going to legalize marijuana. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, this index hasn't, but we can see this is a massive breakout. Look at the volume too, right? Is this one of these pump and dumps that happens? It's happened before. I'll show you PodX, you'll really see it. It happened after Biden got elected because people thought they were going to do something then. This looks like a little more substantive. You can see here the weed stocks, but at the very least, you'd think that it's going to be like that, where they rallied all the way into February, of 2021. And you can see it went up 5x. Well, this time they bottomed at, like, say 5x would take this to 35. And we could still rally all the way into the first quarter of next year. So I got a couple trades I'm going to put on. Like, I always do these lottery trades for fun. They're a few $100s. The average person can do them. I don't expect them to pan out. But if they do, it's I did it in CGC. And CGC, I had I'll show you. It happened in both ACB and CGG. So CGG, I had these calls that expired at the end of August, and I just written them off. It was a few $100s, and I ended up making, I think, 10% on the trade. It was something like, very minimal, but because CGC started to spike. And then Aurora, I had some calls on that expired actually yesterday. And when Aurora spiked at the beginning of the week, I bought these around 3-4 cents. And again, I had written them off. And I sold them for like 9 cents on Monday. So it's like, that I do these things. Now, obviously, when I'm doing those lottery ticket calls, I like to make more than 10% or even 3x. These are the kind of things I want to make 10, 20x on. But I'm going to do a couple small trades and and just have some fun with it. Like probably $300 in each trade or something like that, right? And CGC and another weed stock that are way out of the money. Like, I'm probably going to buy the CGC $4 or $5 deals. Because again, if we get that kind of rally, like we did in PodX, we'll show you again here. Like we did in PodX back in 2020, like, okay, that's the index itself going from 40. Actually, so it wasn't 5x, it was about 4x, 40 to 160. Well, if the index goes up 4x, a lot of these stocks, especially the ones that are more beaten up, are going to go up 10 or 20x. So I still like it. You can see PodX is right here at it's kind of lagged. It's done. It's probably got a different makeup. It's global. I bet you the weed, I haven't looked at the makeup of these things, but I bet you weed has more of these international companies. So, you know, we'll just go look at a few of these stocks. This is Tilray. Same thing. See, Tilray broke above the moving average. These shorter term charts kind of do not do that. But again, look what Tilray did. And on the anticipation of that, you know, it spiked. Now, I don't expect you to get the intraday, but like realistically, you could have bought Tilray at 5, 6 and sold it at, you know, 30 to 40, right? Or sold it at 20 to 30. It's pretty good, right? But you can see that spike that happened here to almost $70 in it. So that's an example of what I'm talking about. PodX goes up 4x, Tilray goes up 14x, right? So that's what, you know, these more leveraged stocks can do. I can never remember the Cure. Yeah, there's Cureleaf. You can see that broken out too, you know. So all these things are breaking out, and look at the volume pickup. Like, you know, again, we'll look at CGC. Yeah, look at that volume pickup. It's right at the 200-day right now. Look at ACB. And one thing I'm going to show you maybe in the video, that maybe my stock chart of the week, next week, the longer video, I'm going to show you that I think if there is a decline in the market, it's the way it's shaping up. I don't know if we're going to get a crash, but we could be like the third and fourth quarter of 2000, where it just kind of slowly rolled over. And the good thing about a slow rollover like that is that these kind of stocks can really, you know, outperform. So you can see ACB like is very far along in its turnaround plan. It's basically, it paid down $9 million of debt this past week. They said they're going to be cash flow positive by the end of 2024. People thought that wasn't going to happen until 2026. So anyhow, so this is looking very, very good. You know, and like I said, they have virtually no debt. So this is one of my favorite ones, and I own it, and I own call options on it. So again, if someone wants to email me, addictedtoprofits@hotmail.com, I'll probably have to get a stock chart of the day, email at some point. But yeah, if you are interested, tell me. You're going to sign up for the Patreon. Also, I'm going to have a discounted way that people can become lifetime members, because I know some of you, the biggest discount was still just to be wire me the money, right? So, but I'll have two monthly plans that are cheaper. One's for $60 a month, one's for $100 a month. And it's a way that you can still get the discounted price. It'll be a little less of a discount because it's monthly. And I'll keep that up for a little while. So yeah, etc. So the monthly plans, you know. So, you know, because I know not everyone has a huge amount of money. I'll appreciate all my $7 members. So, which hopefully, excuse me, there'll be a few of. So the last stock chart of the day we're going to look at, we can see these marijuana stocks, how well they've done, et cetera, et cetera. Is the home builders. So I'm short one home builder. So you can see here, they got right to the kind of the support level, the intraday support at 1800. So if that 1800 breaks, it looks like to me like they're topping, it can roll over. And see what's happened with the home builders. One reason they've held up, you keep saying like, well, housing is so affordable, right? Why are these home builders doing so well? I'm going to get a longer term chart to show you. You can see they're even above where they were the 2021 high, but they do look like kind of like 2021. They're starting to roll over. Well, part of the reason is like, I know the stock I'm talking about, I'm shorting, did this. Lennar's done it too. Well, look at Lennar. They had earnings which beat expectations, but they still sold off 2.5%, getting right down to the moving average here. Again, kind of looks similar to late 2021 in Lennar. They're selling these homes at a discount to big companies, like investment companies, the BlackRocks, the Blackstones, who are then going to turn and roll, you know, going to rent them out. So this is like, in my opinion, a huge, not scam, but like, first of all, it's bad for the average person, because the average person with housing prices, first of all, it props up housing prices because they don't care about really those houses as an investment. They care about the return, you know, on the investment as the rental, right? So that props up the housing prices, and it keeps supply from hitting the market, which, you know, natural capitalism, supply demand, and that makes prices go down. So anyhow, Lennar here that's what their sales are good, because they've been selling to these corporations who are going to turn rent it out. Like, I'm the biggest capitalist in the world, but I think that's got to be stopped, because the whole point of our North American dream, kind of the English speaking world, the British Commonwealth was very big, British common law, rule of law was big on property rights, was that you can buy a place and you can create your own little dream, even if it was just a cookie cutter house in a suburb somewhere. It doesn't have to be a mansion in the Caribbean or in Florida or something, So I disagree with it. I almost think like I'm sorry, as a legislator, I would say, no, this can't happen. You cannot sell these houses en masse. I know it'd be difficult to they'd probably take you to court over that, but it would be like, no, we need middle-class people building wealth. That's what makes our society great, So anyhow, this is KBH, and you can see here, KBH is also kind of topping out, and this is the one that I have puts on. I added some January puts. I have some October puts on it too. The October ones are, again, one of these, these things they're way out of the money or the whatnot. So you can see this here. And KBH looks like it's going to, sorry, just having a little drink of water, break down here. So they report next week. And I think the issue a lot of these companies too are going to have, what's going to happen with them going forward? Okay, maybe the summer was strong. Rates came down. We'll look at the TNX, the 10-year bond. Rates came down a little bit, into May, from the peak last October. Okay, in June, July, they were higher, but now they're back at those highs of October. And you can see in April, May, they came down. So that kind of helped the beginning of the quarter. But remember, the last month of the quarter is this August period. So what is our outlook going to be like? And if the Fed takes a more hawkish stance, we're going to take out these highs, and the 10-year bond could go to 450 to 5%. And again, we've talked about, I don't want to get into oil too much because that's not what this is about today. But this is the oil ETF, and oil again actually was only up it was up a tiny bit today. But again, oil is now over 90. And if it breaks 90, it could go to 100. Now, if there's a big downturn in the stock market, that could cause an oil sell-off. But again, the supply demand dynamics are getting very bullish for oil. And the reason I'm showing oil is that will put upward pressures on inflation, upward pressure on the 10-year bond. So, anyhow, and remember, a lot of housing, it's like these people are stuck now. People bought at the top. They bought when rates were dirt cheap and the whatnot. So, what are you going to do? So anyhow, I think I'm going to leave it at that. So our 3 stock charts, 3 for 1, is we looked at the auto companies. They look like they've discounted a lot of that strike news. But we've showed you the historical chart of how Ford trades during recessions. Then we looked at the cannabis companies. They're breaking out, big volume. It looks like there's going to be more of a move for re-election hopes for legalization. And I think this move, and the stocks are so much cheaper than they were in 2020. I think that this move has legs to it. And we saw even in 2020, that rally lasted almost 6 months, and we're only like basically a month into this. So I still think there's more legs to that. And I think if we see more of a choppy downward market rather than some kind of crash, then certain sectors can rally, and those can rally. And it looks like the home builders are topping out right now. Higher interest rates can't be helping. We're going to see also, it looks like we're slowing down in terms of employment. So that's it. And I do, like I said, I would say if this DJJ USHB can break 1800, we can go down. So anyhow, I hope you enjoy this. I hope this is going to be worth some kind of subscription in the future. I do like doing these. This is more my style. This is why I'm getting out of the regimented, okay. It was tough because, really newsletter's been garbage for years, like in terms of of making me money. Right. And, I raise money for companies. I do consulting with companies, et cetera, et cetera. That's really where most of my money has kind of come from. And, I've even how put deals together, like Nevada King, which we've talked about in the past. Oh, actually, speaking of which, let's get to it because they are one of my sponsor companies. I actually helped put the Atlanta project into Nevada King, right? And, they had some good news today. The stock's come off here. It's basically been flat for 2 years. It came out with quite a large market cap. You can see really done nothing, but I still like this deal longer term. These things can take a while, but if we look at Nevada King right now, They had some good news. Yeah, this is the Atlanta mine, which I helped found. Rest in peace to my friend Chris Krupe, who died 3 years ago, who helped. He was actually a former CEO of the former company that owned this, and we helped them sell this to Nevada King. So we can see this here. Some excellent results. 67 grams per ton gold, 77 grams per ton here, blah, 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 and then some silver as well over here. So, sorry, so you can 1.3, sorry, that's the drill hole. Sorry, the chart here is a little screwed up. The drill hole is 67, but that meter is 1.3, 6.4 silver, 1.44, 0.5. And remember, these are huge, long drill holes. 90 meters, 67 meters. Finding gold at that length is very difficult. So there's there's a bunch of good drill holes there. Obviously, in this market for gold stocks, not enough to move the stock, but again, they are one of my sponsor companies for Stock Chart of the Day. This is Colin Cattell, the same guy who has Newfound Gold. So, and like I said, that's kind of the thing I did. Like, I helped this company and got a fee for it to put the Atlanta mine into the company, and that's why the company has a $100 million market cap, is because of this mine. So I'm not saying it's not all me. I have nothing to do with the company. No, actually, I'm hoping that one day when I go out to Vegas for a Raiders game, I'll visit the property as well. So anyhow, just wanted to show you that as well. So, okay, that was a lot today. Oh, by the way, most of the weekend versions, this one's still free. I probably stock, because it is for paying members, there will be no advertisements. The advertisement for the other stock charts of the day, the other 4 ones we do a week. So, okay, I hope you enjoyed this. I had fun doing it. I'll probably blast this out Saturday so you can read it over the weekend or watch it over the weekend, and go Raiders, for Sunday. And sorry to David, another David, who's one of my subscribers, big Broncos fan, writes me all the time. Raiders got the Broncos number right now. We beat them 7 straight times.